What's up, YouTube and fellow Guardians? Una here to bring you another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video, and today I want to talk about probably the most asked question on our guild server, like the general chat where like all the different guilds come together to talk and share strategies and such. But it's, should I buy this mod? And for today's conversation, I just want to entertain credits. I'm a free-to-play player, so I would never save up $30 of credits. I would rather farm that gear. But I feel like this is the most common question where there's a very important thing that was released today, and it's not the first time it's been released, but it's just the first time it's been released in a really digestible way. I feel, that's you see computer programmers sometimes when they put the presentations together, they've got great ideas, but it's kind of hard to decipher the message, or it's lost behind all this data. Sometimes presentation is absolutely critical, and that's why graphic designers and front-end designers and developers exist. It's this unique way about how the human mind interprets data. But I want to look at this question right here of, should I buy this mod? And I don't think anyone can tell you the absolute correct answer. I think you have different opinions. I made a rule that said if it has speed on it and it's blue or higher, okay, so green I can still pass if I don't like it or not. But if it's blue or higher, I buy it. Okay, even like this, in my opinion, this primary right now with the meta is bad. The potency, most likely bad. You probably don't need a potent defense here. You'd probably want protection for tanks. Tanks do like defense, but usually tanks don't also need potency. One exception may be Poe right now. I don't know. There's a couple different ones that it could work, but it's not the absolute, best primary that you can have. But since it has 5 speed, it could proc twice since it's a blue, meaning it could end up at like, I think you can do 6 per, isn't it? So it could end up at 17, 16, 15, somewhere around there if your luck was on your side, which is, oh my god, that's an amazing mod. So there's no question to me. The answer is yes, I would buy it, but that doesn't mean it's right. What I wanted to bring to your attention, though, is there's a very, and this isn't the first time, like I've said, that there's been analysis done, but now that we have this 100% drop rate, it kind of changes the picture a little bit. And also we had these double drops that it allowed us to get a large sample of data. So this was done by one user, and it was published by this Itsamaro guy, and it's got his contact information at the end. I'll put the link in the description. All credit goes to him for this, but I just wanted to bring this up to kind of help tackle that question. So this guy, he had 1,100 mods basically, so, simmed real quick. So it's a pretty good selection, and it was done on 527, 529, the double drop days. So this assumes that those double drop days, they didn't change the rates or anything like that. They didn't say that they did, but it just assumes that. And we get down to, okay, now when the mods drop, okay, you'll see here, you've got this nice, beautiful picture. 65% of the time it was a white mod, meaning it had no secondary on it whatsoever. 20% green, 9% more or less blue, purple, little under 4%, and then gold 2%. So we're looking at this in basically 9 plus 4, okay, so we'll say 13, and then 15%. So we're looking at the 15% range, that only 15% of the time that you sim, you'll get a mod like this, okay? But then we need to consider, okay, does that mod additionally have speed, okay? So with gray mods included, you can see he broke it down that only 5% of the time did it have speed on it. Without gray mods, 15% had speed. So of these green through gold right here, so basically green all the way up here to gold, you've got a 16% rounded up chance that it's going to have speed. Okay, so when we start looking at saying, okay, what are the chances of getting a certain color? So for example, blue with speed secondaries, you're starting to get down to the 2%, a little bit under 2% range right here. But not only that, that's assuming that all of the different mod slots are equal, okay? So just because you have a 2% to get a blue speed doesn't mean that this is as equal to getting this. What this guy noticed in this data point, and you go through your mod inventory, this is totally true. I definitely have the same thing. You have such an increased ratio, 2.61 to 1, chance of getting one of these left side mods. This is always going to be offense. This is always going to be defense. This is always going to either be protection or health, as opposed to these, right? You only get a 12% here as opposed to 22%. So when we go back to our mod here, we see that we've got the blue with speed, which is part of that 1.7%. And not only that, it's also this cross, which out of all of the mods that you get is only 12%. So you scroll down and you start to get a breakdown of what are the odds of actually getting that individual mod. So if we look at the cross with the defense, it's only 2% of the time of this 12%, right? And not only that, like you start to look at this. Okay, I've only got a 65% chance that it's got nothing, and the rest have a color. But then within that, there's only a 15% chance of that to have speed. Within that, of all the arrows that I could pull, only 12% chance to get across. You start to realize that you're going to have a very, very small chance of getting a mod. He broke down, so here's the breakdown right here, but he broke down this one, the probability to get a critical damage triangle being 0.91%. That means that only 1 out of every 100 mods will have this stat. Now, if you want it with a speed secondary, you have to be more lucky because the chance of getting that is a solid 0.05%. So that really decreases the chance of getting that cross with the the speed that you want. So today's meta, this is not a good mod, right? It's very rare. I mean, it's not a great mod. It's not. You're not looking for defense with potency in today's meta. It could be in the future, who knows? But the fact is, speed is king in the arena. And the fact that you have a 0.05% getting the triangle, and I don't know the exact math for the cross, but you get the point. It's so rare to get that. All of this also does not consider the next mathematical step of how often does speed proc, right? Because it's a 1 in 2 chance, the first, when you get to level 6, each time as to whether you will proc the speed secondary set. So it could be double critical chance, in which case you have a 4% critical chance in 5 speed. That means you have a not very good mod primary with not very good speed, in which case it was a total waste of money. So yes, if you are just looking at that is totally true. But I don't think, the point of this is I don't think you should be comparing to what the potential output is. I think you need to be looking at it as what you're paying for is the guaranteed drop up into this point. So is it worth getting the, critical damage, the 0.91%, okay, to get critical damage triangle, and then to also have it with speed. So if you see it with speed, oh my God, first of all, get it, because that's a 0.05% chance of you actually getting that. I'm going to guess that where are we on the defense? So I'm going to guess, so it's a little bit over half. So I'm going to guess this should be, like 0.1%, 0.12%. I don't know. But it's, probably a little bit over twice as likely as that. You're paying for the likelihood to get that drop. And to me, to have a 0.12% chance to get, that cross with speed, and assuming you want a defense, I'm not saying you do, but you get to see the odds are so low that to me it is absolutely worth it. You should absolutely buy that. And we are absolutely bending over backwards to get these speed mods, and you can see it feels like an uphill battle, and you can kind of see it with these stats. Why? Again, this isn't the end all be all, right? Like, I mean, you've got Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 5 when you do some of the 5 tier. Luckily, it's mostly Mark 5, and we have seen this data before, but this was the first time I just saw it that I was like, wow. EA is really giving it to us up the booty on this one. So to me, after I made the rule that if it's got speed and blue or higher, I buy it. I don't care if the primary sucks. I'll find a home for it. And I do find homes for it in terms of the A string, B string, C string. I do need good mods for heroic AAT. I do need good mods for my Raven Core team. Just because it's not a good primary, might not end up on my arena team, doesn't mean it's not a good mod for my inventory. So that's my rule, and it's definitely proven out. And looking at these stats, I think it is absolutely critical that you do buy those. And one final point is when I'm talking about buying these, I only buy typically the ones with credits. So I don't look at these ones with crystals. I look at the credits because when you look at how many, so I'll look at these bottom two in terms of protection cross. Maybe I want to get that. I don't know. I'll look at this one, but I make those decisions based off of which ones are credits. Now, when it comes to crystals, I'm not the guy that's going to tell you what's worth it or not worth it. When you look at these, 1,800 crystals, 2,700 crystals, as a free-to-play player, that's a lot of gear for me to give up. It's a lot of tickets to give up in terms of being able to farm each day and just get done with my 600 quicker. I don't look at these as a viable option for me. But if you were looking at it, you could do it as a free-to-play player too, but usually it's more Dolphin Whale territory. But it is something you could do, because if you think about it, that could be, here, let's do the math here real quick. So 2,700 crystals divided by 100 is obviously going to be 27 refreshes. Today we get 3 a day, so that's roughly 9 days where you're doing the 3 100 refreshes on Cantina Energy. And I know that's a temporary thing. It might go down to 2 because I said it was temporary, but in any case, That's, how many refreshes you do a day. So this could be 9 straight days where you are giving up farming. Okay, now that comes at this cost where you get the guaranteed mod that you want with the guaranteed secondaries, basically. Now, in those 9 days, okay, so you get 120 energy per refresh times 3 a day times 9 days, which is 3,240 energy. Okay, you divide that by the 16 cost, okay, for mods, and you will have simmed roughly about 200 mods. Okay, so that means when you compare this to that stat chart you saw earlier where you only had like a 1 in 5 and a 0.05%. So if we pull 202.5 mods, okay, and you multiply that by the 0.05%, zero, so it's 2 zeros and a 0.5. So you see that it is actually only 0.10 chance. That is horrible. I mean, goodness. Yeah, if you saw that for credits and you didn't buy it, you are insane. So I just hope this puts us in perspective. And another way to look at this, just to show you how what the odds are. Let's say, okay, what are the chances to get 1 critical damage with speed in it? That means that you would need to do, and it was it 0.05. So if, let's say, we did 2,000 mods, okay, that is times 0.0005%. There's your 1. So you would have to have simmed 2,000 mods. Okay, so let's take 2,000 mods times the 16 energy it costs. Okay, and it's going to cost this much energy, and each energy refresh is 120. Okay, so it's going to be 266 refreshes basically to do this. And if you did this across the days, that would be 3 months. I don't know about you, but particularly when I was first starting out, I didn't have 3 months to wait to be competitive to get the critical damage mod with speed. So yeah, it's just that's why mods are a grind, guys, because it's those percentages then. And not only that, this is just to get that mod. Then it's a matter of, does speed roll? So when I'm looking at that guy in my shard that's got the plus 19 critical damage, that's a gem. There's not much you could do about that. So that's why I say, if you see it for credits here, you're absolutely insane to not buy it. And even with crystals, you can see how it's worth it. But I focus more on the gear. That I'm not a guy that's going to save up and have 3,000 crystals ready to go when that mod does pop up. I probably should, after doing this math. Maybe I've convinced myself to do that. But that is just definitely the way I look at it, is that if it's credits and you're 4 million credits, you earn that in 4 days, right? Just by completing Galactic War. Actually less, particularly if it's a credit heist. 1 credit heist comes around, there's your mod. So if you saw that for credits and you didn't buy it, I have to hit my head against the wall as understanding how you don't have credits lined up for moments like this. You need to start saving those. As for crystals, I'm a free-to-play player, so I just don't save up that many crystals, but maybe I should. But that's how I look at it, guys. And also these refreshes, I know some whales will highly recommend hitting this for 15 crystals. Which, if you think about it, you're like, oh, that's a ripoff to refresh, because naturally that's your natural inclination to say that these mod stores are ripoffs. But if you look at it, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 mods, okay, for 15 crystals. When we looked at the math before, and you said, okay, if you did 9 sims at 16 energy is 144 energy, which would have cost you a full refresh, which would have been more than a full refresh, but it would have been 100 crystals. That's only 15 to refresh. That's just to see it. You still have to buy it after that, but I am slowly coming to the opinion of, I understand those that are dolphins or put money into the game, or those that are big savers, why the 15 could be worth it. I don't recommend it. It's just not for me. I guess I haven't come over that hump, but I can see how people justify it. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I can't prove that it's right, but these percentages to me, if I had to sim, and I know it costs me 100 crystals to get a sim of how many, like 8 or 9, I don't know how much it buys. It buys 120 energy divided by 16. And you start looking at these odds, yeah. When you see them for credits and it's got speed, I think you need to look hard at it when you look at these odds, guys. So hopefully that helps you guys with that. With the number one question that we see is, should we buy this? not saying this is the right answer, but to me, seeing these odds of what they're going to drop, taking into this, and then the next step of the speed even proc, no question answered, no question asked. Buy the speed mod. All right, guys, Una out.